I present to you the People's Socialist Utopian State of California. This is a new city-state constitution, which I've been looking forward to creating for some time. I didn't really have an authoritarian constitution because, but I needed one because the panarchist constitution is for everyone. Every single ideology under the sun. So I figured I'd write it up. We have Article 1, Economic Human Rights. Free food, energy, water, shelter, transportation, and entertainment via monthly ration cards. Exact amounts are determined by the Bureau, Article 6, which is down here. This is the bureaucracy, quite literally. Article 2, Planned Economy. Government owns all businesses and property. Your employment is determined by the state, the Bureau, and workers are paid via these rations. So ideally the rations will be high, and ideally there won't be shortages, but of course this can't be promised. That's all dependent on the efficiency of the state, right? Which is a big question mark. Article 3, Dear Leader. The father of the nation, he leads us all with his wisdom, intellect, and courage. He sets the policy and path of the nation and guides all persons and industry. To maintain national security, the leader may send anyone deemed a counter-revolutionary to the gulag for up to 36 months, and then they're deported from California. Now, 36 months is obviously very lenient. It is very libertarian. No trial, no evidence. If the leader thinks you're a counter-revolutionary, you are a counter-revolutionary. That's how this works. So, the dear leader is elected by the rule by academia. Only PhDs can vote for dear leader, and the Politburo, which is next. Once elected, the leader is dictator for life, as is the case in all socialist countries. The right to vote can be stripped by the Politburo at any time if the given PhD intellectual is found to be disloyal to the party, which of course is the standard for socialist countries. Elections occur every 2 years on November 7th, which is the anniversary of the Russian Bolshevik Revolution. The Politburo, Article 5, a 7-member elected council, also elected by PhDs who are in good standing. 5 Politburo members can veto any actions or policy made by dear leader. All 7 Politburo members can vote to remove dear leader. So this is the checks and balances inherent into the socialist system. So yes, there's a monopoly, and yes, the vast majority of people can't vote. And yes, anyone who's disloyal has their vote removed. And yes, the dear leader can deem the Politburo counter-revolutionaries and throw the Politburo in prison, or throw any of the academia in prison without trial, without evidence. But there's still some nice checks and balances because the Politburo members can remove the dear leader. So then the Politburo appoints the Bureau, which is the central planners hired by the Politburo. So this is the political bureaucracy. And now this is just the bureaucracy. And it is all managed by the academia. See how beautiful this system is? So they distribute employment and ration cards and other resources to the people. So this is where the grunt work gets done. This is where the rubber hits the road, is the bureaucracy, the centralized state bureaucracy. Refusal to work against the commands of the Bureau will result in arrest and deportation from California, which is fair, of course. If you're not going to work for the payment that the government sets on the government's terms, then you get arrested and removed from society, which is fair, I think. Up next is the legal human rights. Residents have the right to not be arrested without valid reasoning, which is nice. So the state needs to give you a valid reason, or the secret police need to give you a valid reason. There's no trial by jury, and there's no human rights or freedom of speech to speak of, but they do need to give a valid reason for throwing you in prison. Antisocial behavior or speech will result in 6 months imprisonment and mandatory re-education. The second offense is 24 months and then deportation, which I think is fair. We can't have people just speaking their mind. It's disruptive, it's subversive, it is anti-socialist to do so. There's never been a socialist state that allows freedom of speech, so that trend will not be changing, obviously. This is the immortal science of socialism, and all of those other governments, all of those other socialist governments previously had it correct. This is the big one. Participating in market activity will result in 12 months imprisonment and mandatory re-education. The second offense is 48 months and then deportation. So this is actually very lenient. Like, I think Stalin did 5 years for anti-socialist activity, for market activity. So 1 year is 1 year imprisonment is really, really fair and really light-handed, honestly. So market activity would be like selling your labor, babysitting, growing crops in your backyard and selling them on the side, participating in a farmer's market, cutting hair, things like this, right? So anything outside of the planned economy is strictly illegal market activity. It is not allowed, and in my opinion, it should be even harder, criminally prosecuted even harder than it is. But we are a free society. This is a enlightened, egalitarian, and empathetic society, and so we will only do 1 year imprisonment, 1 to 4 year imprisonments for participating in market activity. And then, of course, Article 8, the last one, is royalties for the intellectual property, going to me and Barry ACDS as authors of this Constitution. Are owed royalties of 100 Dogecoin per California resident per year. Now, this is only like $15, I believe, so this is really affordable for everyone to use this Constitution. You are welcome. Failure to pay royalties may result in a foreign military invasion and occupation of California by the panarchist militaries, of course. So that concludes the People's Socialist Utopian State of California, or SUS for short. And it's really, really beautiful. I actually love how this turned out because it is very accurate in its portrayal of socialism and the mechanization of socialism and the inner workings of socialism. It's actually very socialist and very Marxist, very accurately. And this is the main reason I really adore this document. There's like no private property, everyone has to work for the state. The bureau controls everything, bureaucracy controls everything, and academia controls the bureau. And then the dear leader throws people in prison for any level of dissent. So yeah, this is what socialism looks like. This is what socialism feels like. I wouldn't say feels like, because it's really hard to get a full representation of like the day-to-day experience from this document. But I really want you to ruminate on what it would be like to have this insane monopoly that controls everything and everyone. Every single institution in society is controlled by this one tyrannical institution. So anyway, that's it for the Socialist Constitution. Thank you and have a nice day.